Powerful storms ripping through mid-Michigan, lightning dancing across the skies, rain pouring down, winds mangling trees and homes. The news at 6 starts right now.
Live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM TV5 News at 6.
Well, after the storm comes the cleanup. Families surveying the damage and communities coming together to help one another.
Just hours ago, the National Weather Service confirmed a tornado did in fact touch down in West Branch with winds reaching 100 miles per hour.
Wow, now we have total team coverage of the storm damage from Saginaw all the way up to Aranac County.
And that's where we begin tonight. TV5's James Felton is in All Gray, where one woman was nearly crushed by a tree. James.
Thanks, guys. Severe storms blew through Aranac County last night. Just how powerful were they? Take a look at this trailer. You can see a tree laying across, pretty much destroying the structure. And believe it or not, there was a woman who was sitting right here on this cushion as the tree fell. And today, she shared her story with us.
It was pretty scary.
About 3 feet. The difference between Nancy Rathbun being alive instead of buried under this tree. As damaging weather made its assault on the Point All Gray campground, Rathbun sat in her camper.
The trailer moved, and then it was just a sudden pushing me forward. And that was it. And that's how I stayed.
Rathbun says she was okay, but she was trapped. She spent 15 minutes inside the mangled mess before she was rescued.
They came after and through the rain and ripped off the side and came and got me. I was fine. I was just fine.
Rathbun's friend Diane Felposh recalled those anxious moments waiting for her neighbor to be freed.
How frightening it would be to be there. Just glad she's okay.
Damage is scattered about throughout the campground. Felposh is like everyone we talk to here, keeping a positive attitude.
Mom Nature cleaned house here. We'll all be fine. Everything's great. It'll be fine.
Fine because no lives were lost, thanks to a few precious feet.
There was intervention there for sure.
And while Rathbun says she's glad she is okay, the same cannot be said for her car. She tells us another tree totaled her vehicle thanks to these storms last night. Just another example of how powerful these winds were. Reporting here in Aranac County, James Felton, WNEM TV5.
Ooh, just devastating. Well, listen to this. Here's a look at where power outages stand in several of our counties. Now, in Aranac, more than 5,600 families are without power. Moving west to Gladwin, more than 7,400 outages. And in Clare, nearly 8,000 active outages. Restoration times for some areas isn't until Friday.
In Saginaw County, dozens are still without power in dealing with a major mess to clean up.
Toppled trees, crushing cars, and local golf courses forced to close due to the heavy downpours.
TV5's Craig McMorris joins us live tonight with a look at some of the damage in Saginaw. Craig.
Colette, David, not too bad out here right now in downtown Saginaw. That certainly wasn't the case last night. We went to 3 different locations in Saginaw County where the severe weather really had an impact last night.
We come out and tree was on top of the car that was up front. Could not see anything except for a headlight and the tail.
This tree debris litters the front of Carrie Sparks' home in Saginaw Township. When severe weather hit around 9:30 last night, Sparks and her husband were caught in the deluge. They went inside the house to change out of their wet clothes when a huge tree limb crashed onto their car.
Oh, we were so lucky we didn't get hit with the tree at all.
The car was drivable. Her husband took it to work today, but you can bet coworkers will say something about his ride.
The roof is caved in, lots of dents, but it was able to drive off.
Golfers weren't able to drive off tees at the Apple Mountain Golf Course today. The course was closed due to being oversaturated thanks to the 2 big rainstorms we've experienced since Sunday night. The only birdies here today were the wing variety. The course hopes to open for business again tomorrow. The storm also claimed another victim when this huge tree was felled in front of a house on Midland Road. Motorists got an eyeful as they drove by as a tree removal crew addressed the problem. Meanwhile, Carrie Sparks says that in the 20 years she's lived in this house, she's never been through a storm like the one that hit last night.
Not that I remember. We've had storms, had branches off, but never this big. Never.
And I would not be a bit surprised if a lot of folks echo that very same sentiment. Reporting from downtown Saginaw, Craig McMorris, WNEM TV5.
All right, Craig, thank you. Now, as we've mentioned, our northern areas were some of the hardest hit. TV5's Ashland Hill is in Clare County, where powerful winds mangled boats and flipped docks on a local lake. Ashland.
Yeah, so we've moved up the road. It was about a 4-minute drive. We're still in Freeman Township, but we're now on Norway Avenue, and it looks like a complete war zone. Check out all of this destruction. I've never seen any storm damage quite like this. This Norway Avenue is normally a 2-lane road, only 1 lane, barely open. Cars not really able to make it back and forth. Downed power lines, broken fences. We've got tree damage to some of the cottages, some of the garages, and the residents tell me it gets even worse over at the lake. Now, we're right next to Windover Lake. People are saying docks up in trees, boats floating freely. So some of the residents we talked to scrambling just to get their belongings together.
We got a call saying we better come get our boats up here, so we came up, and the power lines are all down and the boats are out floating free in the raft.
Mike Haley lives in Clare but has a cottage here on Windover Lake. He tells me he knew it stormed this week but didn't expect this severe of damage. And it's not just here.
We've seen a lot of trees, a lot of blow down, large trees down, a lot of power lines down, utilities damaged. We've seen a lot of cars today. We've seen a lot of cars and trucks that were damaged also.
Jerry Becker is Clare County's emergency manager. He tells me the important thing is to stay safe moving forward.
If you can get trees taken away from your home, clear the trees away, clear that stuff away, and have a plan.
Now, again, the damage just making it look like an absolute war zone here. Power restoration not estimated until at the earliest Friday afternoon. So a lot of folks struggling just to find power. Reporting in Freeman Township, Ashland Hill, WNEM TV5.
Well, yeah, Brian, it still amazes me to see how much damage, how powerful Mother Nature is.
Yeah.
I'm here with Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman. Okay, so it's gray outside now, and it's a little muggy. So is the rain moving out?
The rain's moving out, yeah.
Okay.
Things are definitely on the mend weather-wise.
Yeah.
We've have had some lingering showers on and off throughout the day, but thankfully they have not been thunderstorms. The severe weather threat over and done with, and we have 2 more tranquil days ahead as the cleanup and restoration efforts continue. So that's exactly what we need at this point. But want to revisit the tornado that touched down in West Branch last night. Here's the information on it. It was rated an EF1 by the National Weather Service's survey team. They estimated that the maximum winds were around 100 miles per hour. But this really is a testament to the type of setup that we had last night, really primed for brief spin-ups like these. How brief? Well, there's your path length. This tornado wasn't even on the ground for 0.2 of a mile, and it was on the ground for less than 2 minutes on top of that. Path width was only 40 yards wide in terms of the damage path, but unfortunately, it did make a direct hit on at least 2 houses in that area, one sustaining substantial damage, having most of its roof torn off. But it wasn't just the tornado, of course, producing damage yesterday, as we've seen from all the reports. And here's some photos from our weather spotter, actually, Beverly DeBee in Caseville. Not quite a full tree, but nonetheless a big chunk of it falling down onto her house. Says they're still waiting for the tree service to come on by. Diana Gibson Lee in the Aranac-Iosco County border area. You can see a large tree completely snapped and toppled there by the powerful winds last night. And this more evidence of straight line winds from what we're seeing here from Chris Frost out of Este. You can see 2 of those trees completely snapped at their roots there and toppled over in the same direction. But on the First Warn 5 Sky Tracker, things taking a notably quieter turn. Just a few light showers hanging on in parts of the thumb. They will be out of here within the next hour to hour and a half. And then quieter conditions settling in overnight once the cold front that's still parked more or less overhead pulls away to the south and east. It's going to allow high pressure to filter in. Things are going to take a more comfortable and, most importantly, more tranquil turn throughout the night. So we got that slight shower chance, a leftover 1 or 2 through about 7 o'clock. Temps in the low 70s, falling into the 50s during the second half of the night, so more comfortable under partly cloudy skies. We'll take a look ahead toward Labor Day weekend in your full forecast.
Thank you, Brian. Now you can stay on top of the weather by downloading the TV5 mobile app. It's in the App Store and on Google Play. Well, Michigan standardized test scores are in, and the results aren't great.
Yeah, the areas of improvement and the subjects that people are struggling with. That's next.
And the Vehicle City is getting some major support from the state. The project will create dozens of jobs. That's coming up. New tonight, the state of Michigan reporting a slight improvement by 3rd and 4th graders on standardized reading tests. Let's take a look at those scores. M-STEP scores from this past spring rose in the 18 subject areas tested in grades 3 through 8 and 11. But scores dropped in 11 subject areas as well. Fewer than half of all students were proficient in language arts. 3rd graders deemed proficient increased by just 0.3%. Well, the city of Flint is getting a big boost. Yesterday, the Michigan Strategic Fund Board approved a Michigan Community Revitalization Award of nearly $8 million. That's to support the renovation of the downtown Flint Hotel. The former Genesee Bank building and annex building will include more than 100 guest rooms and a full-service restaurant and banquet center. The project will create close to 75 jobs.
Dangerously hot, soaring temperatures across the country forcing more than a dozen schools to close and a major rule change at the U.S. Open. But first, here's Brian.
David, thanks very much. And actually, our temperature's poised to head in the opposite direction, along with a very comfortable change, mostly in the humidity, set to drop off substantially as a cold front passes out of the region tonight. We'll take a look at the improving forecast after the break.
And do you have any photos from last night's storm? Share them with us, and we'll feature them on WNEM.com. Just email us, WNEM@WNEM.com. More than 50 million people across the Northeast are under a heat advisory or warning tonight.
The National Weather Service says the feels-like temperatures got up to 105 degrees. At least 20 schools in Ohio closed due to those scorching temperatures.
Michelle Miller is in New York, where the heat led to a rule change at the U.S. Open.
Djokovic being packed in ice various parts of the body.
Two-time U.S. Open champion Novak Djokovic did all that he could to keep cool in New York City's scorching heat, where it felt like 105 degrees on the court. At one point, he called his cardiologist to check his health and even had a bucket nearby in case he got sick.
I definitely wasn't feeling great for most of the 3 sets.
Djokovic won his match, but at least 6 other players quit before finishing, many citing heat-related issues. A fan even fainted during another match, prompting officials to temporarily suspend play. It was much the same in Manhattan.
It's really humid, I must say. It's crazy.
The heat is having a ripple effect on schools across multiple states. In the Cleveland, Ohio area, at least 18 schools are closed today. Classes in Philadelphia ended early Tuesday and are slated to be cut short again today. Classes in Connecticut and Massachusetts also shortened sessions. Not all parents agreed with the adjustments.
Either make it a full day, fix the AC units, or don't have them come in at all.
Back here at the U.S. Open, tennis officials tell us that those heat-related break rules will remain in effect today and could extend through the weekend because it will not cool off before Friday. Michelle Miller, CBS News, Queens, New York.
Now, in Rhode Island, a state senator is proposing a bill calling for school to begin after Labor Day to try and avoid summer-ending scorchers.
Certified most accurate. Now, your first Warn 5 forecast with Mid-Michigan's only live radar. Here's Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman.
All right, a very good Wednesday evening to you, everyone. 3 nights in a row, wave after wave of shower and thunderstorm activity. Of course, last night's proving to be the strongest and by far doing the most widespread damage. Things taking a notably quieter turn today, despite still gray skies and some lingering showers. But as we head into the second half of this work week and toward Labor Day weekend, we're getting something we sorely need, a break from it all. Here's a look at your first Warn 5 pinpoint Doppler radar live across mid-Michigan. We'll start you off with that tonight, where we have just a few straggler leftover showers, most of them barely even coming down as sprinkles now, trailing across I-69 from about the Grand Blanc area northeastward to roughly, we'll say, Lapeer, and actually just south and east of town there. One other cell with a slightly heavier downpour did just flare up on the south side of Caro there, but as you can see, that's struggling to hold together as it moves toward M46. That'll continue to fizzle out over the course of the next half hour to 45 minutes. And behind it, more importantly, tranquil conditions rolling in with a drier air mass and more pleasant conditions. Great news, of course, with the lack of storms as we continue to clean up from all the damage last night. Here's a live look outside this evening. We'll head over to downtown Saginaw, where the sky is still going through the transition phase here. We've got a few blue patches interspersed with mostly cloudy skies. A current temp at 73, but the dew point already starting to dip. You can still feel that humidity in the air, but it's not quite as oppressive with that dew point of 64 and a northwesterly breeze now behind a passing cold front at 8 miles per hour. We head next to the Bay City riverfront. Pretty similar conditions for you there, too. Some occasional breaks of sunshine, but still mostly cloudy. Your current temperature at a rather pleasant 73 degrees, all things considered. And to downtown Flint we go, where you're also socked in under these clouds, but it looks like you have a brighter patch on the north side of town. Your current temperature at 71 degrees. Let's see how the weather spotters are doing tonight. We'll go first to Mike Borsnick in Brant. He's got 72 degrees, and his rainfall from the storms overnight coming in at about about 1.3 total inches there. Carl Swanbeck with 3/4 of an inch of rainfall in his latest report in Bay City, coming in at 72 degrees. But here's where the pleasant changes start to roll in. On the temperature maps out here tonight, you see a lot of 70s still kind of parked out ahead of this passing cold frontal boundary, while farther to the north and west, we've got 60s filtering in on these northwesterly breezes. 63 already in Houghton Lake, 68 that is for Clare, Gladwin, and into the West Branch area. And along with the falling temperatures, the humidity dropping off substantially behind this front. Still the slightly muggy conditions ahead of it from the Tri-Cities south and east, where dew points are still in the middle and upper 60s. But behind it, we're already seeing them drop back into the 50s. A refreshingly cooler air mass going to be settling in as we kick off the second half of the week tomorrow. Here's why. First Warn 5 Sky Tracker showing the cold front, pretty much what you're seeing in the temperatures there, parked right overhead, essentially splitting the lower peninsula right in half. That'll continue to slide off toward the south and east this evening, taking the showers and most of the cloud coverage with it. In its place, a nice refreshing change with high pressure parked over southern Minnesota. That's going to settle its way in across the Great Lakes region and keep us company for the next 2 days before the next storm chance rolls in sometime on Saturday. But we'll worry about that when we get to Saturday. First Warn 5 hour-by-hour forecast showing a few of those leftover sprinkles possibly hanging on in parts of the thumb by about 7 o'clock. Otherwise, a partly to mostly cloudy sky. Looks like the clouds will be stubborn, kind of in a mixed fashion out there tonight. It's going to be more of a partly to mostly cloudy sky by midnight. And then as we shift into a northeasterly breeze tomorrow, I do think some of these showers are being a little overstated, but I wouldn't rule out some sprinkles with some cloud coverage that will tend to filter in from time to time off of Lake Huron. But by all accounts anyway, a much more refreshing day with plenty of sunshine peeking through the clouds ahead for our Thursday. So 54, your overnight low tonight. Showers coming to an end, leaving behind partly cloudy skies by morning. 71, that's it for the high temp tomorrow on a refreshing day, to say the very least, around the region. Friday features 79, mostly sunny skies. Labor Day weekend does have the chance for hit or miss storms, but not expecting any rainouts. David and Colette, back to you.
Okay, well, sign me up for this one. Researchers may have found the secret to living longer.
And it may all start with a little R&R. We'll explain on the news at 10 on TV5+.
Then after Criminal Minds, a home struck by gunfire and the alleged shooter ticketed. Does the punishment fit the crime? We're asking the tough questions.
The message is clear. Don't mess with the Uber driver.
A sheriff talking about a shooting in a case he says is classic stand your ground. We'll show you what went down.
Top stories in tomorrow's forecast in the first 10 minutes every night on TV5 News at 11.
Now, with coverage you can count on, you're watching Sports Extra.
After a 1-15 start in the second half standings, it's hard to believe that the Loons' magic number to clinch a playoff spot is now 1. That means if the Loons win at Lansing tonight or the West Michigan Whitecaps lose at Dayton, the Loons are in the playoffs. After that horrific 1-15 second half start, the Loons are 33-15, playing some of the best baseball in the Midwest League. This month they have already won 20 games. It's only the third time in their history that they have won at least 20 games in a month. And they are riding a 7-game win streak. If you missed the Tigers game today, good for you. Tigers starter Michael Fulmer wishes he missed it as well, as the Royals roll to a 9-2 victory. Fulmer, who tossed 4 2/3 shutout innings against the White Sox last week, allowed 7 runs on 8 hits before he was chased with 2 outs in the 4th. Fulmer is winless in his last 7 starts, losing 5 of them since beating the Twins on June 14th. The college football season will kick off tomorrow in Michigan as Saginaw Valley State will host Alderson Broadus in the Red Feather game at SBSU. The Cardinals are looking to rebound from a 5-6 record in 2017. Kickoff is set for 7 o'clock at Wick Stadium. And don't forget that the Lions will be finishing up the preseason tomorrow night at Ford Field when they host the Cleveland Browns. And it's a game that you can see right here on TV5. Coverage will kick off at 7 o'clock. I'm Scott Johnson.
Dalmatian in Bulgaria is showing off his many talents. Meet Freddie the singer. He's named after Queen frontman Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, the spotted pup loves to sing and play the piano with his owner's daughter. He's also mastered balancing objects on his nose.
And in his spare time, Freddie likes to relax on his spotty blanket and have a little snack.
Eating some watermelon.
Oh, what a cutie pie.
He is.
Oh, he can sing, yeah.
Well-earned snacks, too, if he's got all that talent.
Sure. No kidding.
So next couple days, giving us a well-earned break. Humidity down, temps down, no storms until Saturday.
That's great for all the cleanup out there. Thank you so much for watching TV5 News at 6.
We'll see you at 7 on TV5+.